So I think we'll get started. And what better way to maybe? There we go. What better way to get a session started than to convince you not to be here? If you are part of the FOLIO community and kind of know about the project governance, its special interest groups, how it develops new features and how we release new software, you don't want to be here. You want to be in the special interest showcase, which is happening in this same hour in the Liberty Room right down the hall. If you're new to the FOLIO community and want to know how we came about, how we do things, and some of the things that are happening in the community in the right place right now, then you are in the right place. But I just wanted to set that expectation that this is for people who are kind of new to the community and want to know how we put things together. I won't be offended even if halfway through the presentation you get up and decide to go get involved, find out how to get involved in the community at the Special Interest Group Showcase. My name is Peter Murray. I work for Index Data as the open source community advocate. I'm not the oldest of the old guard in the FOLIO project. I started in 2016. The FOLIO project itself started in 2015. But I have been around and have seen a few things that have happened and hope to share some of that knowledge and background with you to get you up to speed with how the community got formed, why it does the things that it does, the quirky ways that we do things, because all of those quirks have historical reasons behind them, and then encourage you to get involved in the project itself. We're going to start first with how FOLIO got started in 2015. As you might recall, if you were in the library space in the early 2000s and the 2010s, it was a time of a lot of consolidation. There was a lot of private equity that was coming in and buying up various systems and consolidating them and forcing some systems to be retired, forcing migrations onto other systems as that consolidation happened. There was a group of libraries and library vendors that saw that happening and didn't think that that was a good idea for the FOLIO or for the library automation marketplace, and set about to do something about it. And that's the origins of the FOLIO project in 2015. The goal to create a vibrant community and a sustainable platform for library innovation, solving the problems of today and into the future. There were three primary partners that were involved in that. First was the OLE group of libraries, the Open Library Environment. This was a Mellon-funded project to produce an open source library system made up of libraries. They brought the subject matter expertise. They brought the catalogers and the acquisitions people and the access services people to the room. The second partner was EBSCO. They brought knowledge of the library marketplace, large project management expertise, project management of large projects expertise, and also a great deal of seed funding to fund the initial development. Index Data brought its deep domain experience in library technology standards and our work with fostering open source software. Index Data has been around for 31 years, and in all of that time, it's written open source software. Most of that software is software that is used by other companies, and so you might not have heard of Index Data, but we've been around for 30 years. The Open Library Foundation, you heard a bit about that this morning in Tom's introduction, was created in 2016 as a not-for-profit holding company of the intellectual property of the FOLIO project and soon other projects. It was important to those three partners that there not be one group that could take this over and turn it into something else, that it really had to be owned by the community. And so to do that, this nonprofit was created. It holds the intellectual property of the project. The project is licensed using the Apache 2 software license. If you're not familiar with that, that's a very liberal use license. It allows for companies to host the software, make additions, adapt it to its needs, and so forth. So all of that work went on early on to make sure that FOLIO was going to outlast any individual partner that came along with it, that came along to it. And FOLIO had a certain design philosophy. Think about it as apps on a platform. You all, of course, have probably seen FOLIO as it's been constructed. But in 2015, we really took to the notion of the smartphone, and that there were apps that were developed by any number of companies, and they all came together on the same device, and they shared calendar information, and they shared contact information, and you could use the Google Maps to map something, or you could use Apple Maps to map something. All of that was built on this foundation of a platform. And so it was really a modular I know you shouldn't be here. I started my introduction by saying there are certain people who should be in the SIG showcase down the line, but sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. And to do this, we needed a really modular design that between these apps talking to each other, it was important what was not important was how the apps were constructed. What was important was the APIs, the application programming interfaces, how these apps talk to each other. And those had to be the supreme governance of how the system worked. And so they're well defined and versioned, and that has meaning in the computer space, that you can count on that API being there and be able to rely on it. So much so that FOLIO is considered an API first project. There is nothing that you can do in the user interface that you can't do with a computer program calling an API. And that was seen as also real important, that libraries had the ultimate control over all of their data. They could use any API to put data into the system, take data out, change it, put it into other systems, do whatever they needed to do. So there was this well-intentioned design aspect that was open and transparent and respected collaboration. Collaboration was an important part. Whenever possible in the design of the system, the decision-making was diffused down into what we call the special interest groups. There wasn't a top-down hierarchy of how this project is going to be designed. Let's rely on the subject matter experts in the SIGs to decide what they need to do and do what they need to do to publish those APIs on how to work with the data that they have and use the APIs of other parts of the project to work on their own data. And so around that, creating a sustainable community and an ecosystem that is open and beneficial to all of the participants who come into the community. So who is the FOLIO community? It's libraries, it's library networks, it's the subject matter experts, it's the vendors, it's the developers, the product owners, the DevOps engineers, the quality assurance testers, Scrum Masters, translators. All told, there's about 2,000 people from around the world that have been or are now actively involved in this project, and 100 or more organizations around the world that are putting their efforts in. From its founding, Folio was a place where these people and these organizations could come together and work on problems and come up with solutions that benefit everyone or at least a large group of people. So that's the Folio community in general. There's a subset of that community who are Folio project members. And these are people who are providing funding or in-kind people to the project to help it along. There's one enabling partner, EBSCO. There are 5 empowering partners, the three of the German library networks, BVB, GBV, and HBZ. Don't ask me to expand those acronyms, please. Then Stanford University and the University of Colorado Boulder. Then there are dozens of sustaining partners, supporting partners, and contributing partners at various contribution levels that they're contributing to the project. Some of the benefits of being a project member and contributing in that tangible way are that staff from those organizations are eligible to serve on governing council. There's recognition on the Folio website, and then there's benefits to here at WOLFcon to joining as well. So some more about governance. There are 3 councils in the project governance. The Community Council, which is looking at the general health of the community, fiscal responsibility, and also manages the elections. There's the Technical Council, which is looking at the product roadmap and coordinating functionality when it crosses functional areas and when those special interest groups need a place to come to work through a problem in common. And then there is the Technical Council, standards and build processes and best practices around the technical aspects of the project. The council representatives, again, come from Folio members, and one other stipulation is that there can't be more than one person from an organization on a council. So I sit on the Community Council, and I'm from Index Data. That means that there's not another person from Index Data also on the Community Council. If the elections worked out that way, it would get worked through. That second person who was voted in, it would go to the next person on the list. Elections happen in the spring. Although you have to be from a Folio member to serve on a council, the elections happen by everyone in the Folio community. And by that, I mean we take the list of email addresses that are on the Confluence and Jira system, and we send a ballot out to all of those people. So just by registering for a Confluence account, you become eligible to vote in that spring's elections. If you don't know how to register yet, I'll get to that in just a minute. There's a link here. These slides are online, by the way. If you go into this session, I've uploaded them there. This is a link to the project governance document. And it kind of goes through more details about everything. This is okay. Yes. Goes through everything that I've talked about here in terms of governance, the various councils, membership, the elections process, and so forth. And so if you wanted to know how Folio actually works, this governance document is something that has evolved over time. Over 10 years, we've been working on how we collectively govern ourselves. key to this is in the special interest groups. And I said that decisions are made locally. The decisions about what FOLIO does are made in these special interest group. It's where the real work gets done. There are four main ones: metadata management, resource access, resource management, and users. Those are kind of if you were to divide FOLIO up into four areas, everything kind of falls into those areas. And then there are more specialized special interest groups and cross-functional groups that kind of fall out of that. So starting from those top four, and then other things. So there's an acquisitions group, and a discovery layer special interest group, and a public library special interest group, and an interest group that's focused on data import. You can find them if you look at the FOLIO wiki. There's a list of these down the side. This list of special interest groups, how to join them, and you can see the list of them here. Just going into one, let's look at the ERM SIG. You can see its Slack channel. It has a mailing list. It has a Google Drive folder. It meets on Wednesdays at 8 in the morning. Here's the Zoom link for it. Here's where the meeting password can be found. And here's the list of people that are focusing on that work. So all of this can be found on the wiki just by knowing what kind of special interest group you're looking at. The SIGs are open to all. You don't have to request to join. The meeting information is openly published. You can just join, or you can just view the recordings of the SIG and see if they're doing things that you want to join. This is a worldwide project, so we tend to adopt lazy consensus as an idea. This comes from the Apache Foundation, and the notion is that you put a proposition out there. You say, I want to make this decision. Here's the decision I want to make. Here's the reasoning behind it. You wait for a reasonable amount of time, days. It varies by SIG and how they're organized. And if there are no objections, you can assume that is a decision that everyone has reached consensus about. And because it's hard to get people from North America and Europe and Asia and Australia and New Zealand on the call at the same time, this kind of idea of lazy consensus is used as an efficient way to come to decisions. And of course, if there is discussion, if somebody says, no, I object, or I think we should talk about this more, then lazy consensus hasn't been reached, and that discussion can then happen on Slack or in Zoom meetings or all of the other places in which the project's activity takes place. So any questions about the governance, how FOLIO got organized, how we organize ourselves, the role of the councils, the special interest groups? Okay, I'll have time for questions at the end as well, but we'll press on. How FOLIO develops new features. This all happens in the special interest groups. The special interest groups are made up of subject matter experts. They're made up of catalogers. They're made up of circulation librarians. And these special interest groups are led by SIG conveners. These are people that step up and say, I'm gonna lead this group. Follow me. And it's really no more than that. They arrange for the meetings. They find people to write notes. They create agendas and convene the group. So I said this before, SIGs, you join a SIG by showing up. No approval is required. You don't have to be a FOLIO member. You just have to show up to a SIG. When a SIG discusses needs, it usually writes use cases. And these are typically done with the aid of a product owner. And then they file an issue in the UX prod project. And all of the features that I don't want to log in. I shouldn't have to log in. Oh, I don't want to take the time to log in. But the link goes to the SIG, to the UX prod project in Jira, and there you'll define the purpose of a feature, its requirements and scope, any kind of special considerations, any examples that might exist, and what the deliverables might look like. This year, the Product Council has asked SIGs to reflect on their top priorities and have created a community priorities dashboard. And this is where SIGs have put what their top priorities are, linked to the particular UX prod issue for those. I'm going to try this one more time. Yes, this is what I wanted to see. So you can see this is enable staff to change the loan type value for an item when creating a purchase order line. The purpose, a user story, use cases, gives it a priority and labels, maybe assigns it to a development team, maybe assigns it to a parent, and then you might find work items that are linked to this. And so this one is related to acquisition SIG requested enhancements. Once you get your sign-on onto Jira, you can follow this issue. So if this is something that is of interest to you, you can follow it and then get email notifications when something happens on this issue. So after things are defined by the special interest groups, a development team can pick it up. The FOLIO project has about a dozen developer teams. Teams generally follow an agile software development philosophy, and they use tools from the Scrum methodology. These projects or these development teams are all working on their own modules, and so they all don't have to follow the same prescriptive process. They can follow a process that makes sense for them if they're in a region or if they're a part of one company, whatever makes sense for them. Teams publish a definition of done that reflects the needs of the team. This can involve how code changes are reviewed and merged, the nature of automated tests, the process for having development reviewed and approved by the special interest groups, and so forth. A key person in the development team and in the SIGs is a product owner, and that's the person who is going to take the desires of the SIG and the description of the use cases and create functional specifications for those and the kinds of things that the development team can work on. So if you're in a SIG, we have a shortage of product owners. It's a specialized skill, but if it's a skill that you have and there's a special interest group that is aligned with your interests, volunteering to be a product owner can be a very fulfilling job in the project. So it sounds maybe that this is a little wishy-washy. The development teams are working in modules. They can do what they want. They can maybe use their own programming languages, or they can introduce their own databases. And so there's a need to keep some guardrails around the project as a whole. And that's the role of the technical council. There's a lot of this inherent freedom in how these independent development teams do their work, and the guardrails provided by the technical council helps ensure that this all works together at the end of the day. So if there are changes to technologies, we need to change a database version, or if there are different architectural changes to be made, those are reviewed by the technical council, and the technical council has a process for discussing and documenting those changes. And anyone in the project can come to the technical council's decision log and find why a decision has been made, what the status of that what the status of that decision is. So there's a deprecation policy here that was talked about in January of this year, who contributed to it, what the decision was, the rationale, and so forth. So all of this is an open part of the project that people can look at after the decision has been made. The technical council is made up of representatives from the development teams and also from the hosting providers. So it ensures that the hosting providers can run what it is that the development teams are creating, and everybody is on the same page. So with all of those people working together, how do we actually create a release of software? We create software releases. It started 4 times a year, if you can believe that. That's when the project was moving really fast. We are at a pace of about 2 releases a year. This year, we're only going to have the 1 release, Sunflower. It looks like the Trillium release is going to move into next year because of the Eureka changes. And I'll talk about the Eureka project in just a moment. But generally, we're at about twice a year. And all of our releases have flower names. We started with a honeycomb theme for a background for our slide presentations, and honeycomb brought the notion of bees, and that's why the mascot of the project is a bee. And who goes around? What do bees go around to but flowers? And so we are up to S and T in our flower names. U is umbrella leaf. UV. Violet, I think. UV, I'm a librarian. UV, W, yeah, they're all listed. It's on the wiki page. So let's look at the Sunflower release, and we have a release manager that puts this together, and he creates a nice roadmap calendar. The release calendar is roughly 10 2-week sprint cycles prior to a feature freeze, and then we go through these series of steps until we get to the public release. One of the most important steps here is down here, which is the bug fest. There's a lot of automated testing in the project, but there's a lot of things that need to be tested that require real humans to use real data to test it with, and particularly around new features that are coming in where the automated tests haven't proved themselves. And so there are librarians, people working in FOLIO libraries that volunteer to be a part of BugFest and to test new features and to use their own data to make sure that these features are working as planned. So as you hear about release cycles coming about, you'll hear requests for people to join the BugFest team, and there's some tools that we use that you can pick up tests, you can look at the descriptions, you can test it with your own data, make sure those work, and then report back the results of the test. After the official release, of course, there's a period of adoption by the hosting providers. And typically that involves the candidate releases being put in sandbox environments, using your local data, your local workflow. It gives you a chance to test that workflow in your own data, create your own documentation and so forth before you actually get the release. So it's one thing for the sunflower to be released on a particular date, but then there's a process that your hosting provider goes through to get that release ready for you, and then for you to get ready to actually use that release. In between releases, we have critical service patches, or CSPs. This is when bugs are found and they can't wait for the next release for those fixes to be put in place. Something that's going to happen with Trillium, which is going to break some of our own rules, is that we're talking about some critical service patches that introduce new features. Some libraries that were going to go live on Trillium with new things that were done in development, but since Trillium has been postponed, they can't go live, and so talking about backporting some of those new features into a Sunflower CSP. Generally, again, there are our own rules, so we can break them if we want to, and that's a discussion that's happening in the community right now. So where to find information and who to talk to learn more. First and foremost, I think, is the council chairs. Again, you can go to the wiki for a council or for a SIG, and it's going to say who the co-chairs or who the conveners are for that group. Here's the co-chairs for the three councils. And then there's a couple key individuals. The lead product owner is Kalila from EBSCO. The release manager is somebody else. You'll also see his name. You probably saw his name recently talking about the Trillium delay, is Oleski. He works for EPAM. So some of the tools that we use. First is Confluence, we use as a wiki. This is hosted by Atlassian. We're using the Atlassian cloud product. You can sign up for an account. There's a little login button here. It takes you to a page where you can create an account, sign up using your email address, set a password there, and go on. That's all it takes to become part of the FOLIO project. Just sign up for an account. One special note, if you're from an organization that is already using Atlassian products, your email address might be claimed by your system administrator, in which case you might have to go to that system administrator and get approval to join the FOLIO Atlassian products. But that only happens, that's a local policy decision if your organization is already using Atlassian products. So you'll find pages for councils, SIGs, task forces, documentation, development teams, feature specifications, release planning. All of that tends to live on the wiki. That said, there's lots of information there. Not all of it is current and curated. It is kind of one of the things the project could do better on, is curating its information better. The second tool is Jira, also a product of Atlassian. Same self-registration process as Confluence. It's an Atlassian account, so you'll sign in once, you'll get into both systems. So this is the tasks in a project tool. UX Prod, which holds all of our features, are there. There's projects for the front-end modules, back-end modules, project groups. Some projects have special permissions. If you can't make a comment or you can't log an issue, talk to the owner of that project, or there is on Slack, which I'll talk about in a moment, there's a FOLIO Atlassian support channel that you can go to get answers. So again, I encourage you, if there are issues that are problems for your library, or you've reported a problem and you want to follow how that is following through to resolution, sign up for an account, follow an issue, and you'll get those email notifications. Slack we use for asynchronous communication, message-based communication. This is open to anyone. This URL, slack-invitation.openlibraryfoundation.org, will put you to a form where you put in an email address. You'll get an email from Slack with a link to activate your account. This is another one of the services that is provided by the Open Library Foundation. So you're going to look for channels that are prefixed with the word folio. This is a time of transition. It used to be the folio Slack, but it is transitioned to the Open Library Foundation Slack. So there are some channels that don't have that prefix, but generally all of the folio projects have the folio prefix. You'll see ViewFind has the ViewFind prefix. The OpenRS project has OpenRS as its prefix. When you get signed up to Slack, you're going to be added to all of the project's general channel. So there's a Folio general, there's an OpenRS general, there's a ViewFind general, and we do that aiming for cross-fertilization between projects. These general channels are intended to be low volume, and the messages that are posted there just keep you up to date with what's happening with that project. So if you want to know what's happening across the Open Library Foundation, those kinds of announcements, one place those are happening are in the general channels. I also encourage you to lurk on the three councils, the Technical Council, Product Council, and Community Council, and see what discussions are happening there. Chime in with your insights, of course, as you have them. Some other tools, we use Zoom. All of our meetings use the same password. It's folio-lsp. We set that password early in the pandemic when Zoom bombing was a thing. Does everybody remember Zoom bombing? We haven't had to change it in 5 years. We haven't been Zoom bombed, but we're ready. If we're ever Zoom bombed, we're going to change that password. So keep your ears open to the community if that should have to happen. Yes. Recordings are put on the Open Library Foundation site, recordings.openlibraryfoundation.org. They have a password associated with them. The password is the same one that you would use to get into the meeting, folio-lsp. When we started doing this, people were reluctant to have their names and their ideas just kind of openly available there on the web. So the password is there primarily to prevent that content from being harvested. It's not in a form that people wanted harvested and put out there. So that's why the password is there. But again, it's a simple password. I've told it to you now. Some groups have mailing lists, and we're using olaylist.openlibraryfoundation.org for that. And there are also videos. We used to do videos more often. We used to have monthly folio forums where a topic would be discussed. We used to have sprint reviews where the development teams would come and show what it is that they're working on. Over the years, we've fallen off that. You can find some of that on the channel. Some of it is still useful. Some of it is kind of historic. If anybody's interested in working on the Folio forums and want to get that kind of webinar thing started again, I used to help coordinate that, and so I'm kind of what's left of the Folio forum SIG. Come talk to me. I don't have time for it myself, but I'm happy to get somebody else started with it. So now some current topics that are happening here at the conference. I thought that if you're coming to this meeting and you're wanting to know how Folio is put together, you probably kind of want to know what's happening in the Folio community, or at least have one person's view of what's happening in the Folio community. And I think that the lead one here continues to be the Eureka project. We've talked about this now this is our third WOLFcon talking about the implications of this. Remember back to one of the strengths of Folio is its modular nature. The Library of Congress came along and said, okay, how your API gateway and your access control technologies, they're just not up to snuff. They're okay when you were a baby project, but now your project is growing up and you need to use big boy tools. Again, opinionated. And so there's this project called Eureka, which is replacing some of these underlying pieces of this. Replacing these modular pieces of the technology without impacting the rest. The idea is that Folio is the last ILS migration you'll ever need. It remains to be seen, of course, if that's true, but the desire is to have a system that allows us to change the parts underneath and not have dramatic impacts worldwide. So, for instance, the Library of Congress had these requirements for more robust access control. The Eureka project is replacing the Okapi gateway with Keycloak and Kong. Keycloak is an open source community about access control. A whole bunch of commercial companies use it. It's got the same liberal open source license that Folio uses. It's mature technology. We're adopting it. Kong is kind of the same thing, but it was more one-sided in that there was just one company controlling it. They changed their licensing strategy, so now technical counsel is looking for alternatives. That's probably the buzz that you're hearing is that Trillium is delayed because we need to look for if we're going to continue with Kong or replace Kong with something else. But all of these changes are minimal. The back-end modules, they don't have to change much. Mod Circ is still going to do what Mod Circ's going to do, and Mod Inventory is still going to do what Mod Inventory is going to do. And the checkout app is still going to look the same. It's going to be the same checkout app. All this stuff is going to happen underneath, but it's the same checkout app on top. So I don't want you to be scared by the fact that some of these technologies are changing. It's the project working as it was designed 10 years ago. And this is the first major change that we've had to do, so it's taking us a little longer. It's taking some more discussion. Hopefully the next time we have to do this, it won't be quite so involved. Hopefully the next time we do this, it won't be quite such an integral part of what we're doing, but that's something else as well. But we're going to do Eureka, and it's not going to change how you're using Folio. It's not a migration for you. Isn't that absolutely, totally wonderful? So there's an architectural blueprint talk happening tomorrow at 11. And then tomorrow at 2:30, there's a session on the introduction to Eureka permissions and architecture. Next topic is enhanced consortial support. This was work that was developed under contract by EBSCO. It allows a central system to inject configurations into member Folio library systems. And so if you've got a strong consortial system and you've got libraries that are a part of it and you want to help those libraries. They don't have to all do the same configuration changes. You can push some of those configuration changes from the central system down to the local system. Some really, really neat technology. There's a session at 3:30 today, harnessing the power of Folio with enhanced consortial support that goes into more depth. Linked data is in the Entities app. There are several promising approaches to linked data in Folio. There are several groups that are attacking this from different ways. Again, that Folio is capable of supporting these different trials and attempts and make things work is just mind-bogglingly cool that you can get these different things and not have to change how you circulate books. But EBSCO is working on the Entities app. There's a session tomorrow at 2:30, the linked data editor with Folio. Stanford and Cornell are talking about Blue Core tomorrow at 9:30. Stanford and the Library of Congress tomorrow at 2:50 are talking about Sinopia and Marva bibframe editors. At Colts, shared VDE JCricket editor is being talked about Thursday at 1:10 p.m. And again, just this notion that we've got this notion of an inventory app, and there's several ways that metadata can feed into this, and they all work with the acquisitions app, and they all work with the circulation app, just makes for exciting times about how we can actually apply linked data to our workflows and keep using MARC when we need to. Finally, I would say that there's some interesting work happening with workflows. Remember that Folio is APIs all the way down. Anything you can do in the user interface, you can do with the API. In fact, there are things that you can do with the API that aren't in the user interface, which I find fascinating. There are things that just haven't been coded in the user interface, but there's an API call for it. The Oklahoma State University is talking about their Redbud project tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. Lehigh University Project Pluck Thursday at 9:30 in the morning, and then Stanford Thursday at 11 is talking about Apache Airflow, how they're using these tools to do workflows using the Folio APIs. So that's it. Welcome to the Folio community. If you weren't excited about it before, I hope you're a little excited about it now. This recording and the slides will be online. Go back and review them. Now that you've done this, you can go listen to the recording of the Folio SIG showcase and decide where you want to become a part of the project, or ask any one of us old guard how you can bring your skills and your knowledge and your experience and your sweat equity to the project. Any questions? Three minutes. Let me look online here. No, nothing in the chat. Okay, thank you, and welcome to Folio.